Alright, we continue with the second game. Let's head into it. Samsung with a surprising second game or first game win. I think a lot of it is to attribute to the draft. I think Samsung had a very powerful composition with a lot of CC here, and let's just head into it. Longzhu on blue side again. Samsung Galaxy are happy to be on red side. Galio and Malzahar banned now. I think Malzahar wasn't that big of an issue. Zaya also banned instead of Dejana, which was banned the last game. We have to assume now that both Ardent Sensor supports are going to be active in this draft. Lulu is going to be the first pick, but with Zaya ban, it doesn't give Samsung the opportunity here to go for the Rakan and the Zaya. But Rakan Jarvan is definitely something that Samsung can go for. They can also go for the Rakan Sejuani like they did in the first game. Definitely a possibility. They go for Tristana instead. No reason to lock in Rakan already. Longzhu go for Varus. And okay, I'm not too big of a fan of Varus. I feel like it's been quite wonky. You know, the performance of Varus has been quite back and forth. Varus, you know, Varus in this game, I feel like in some cases when he gets to hit a lot of tanks is going to be beautiful. But Samsung, you know, looking at the previous top lane matchup, then is Varus going to be as effective as he wants to be? Is going to play against a Cho'Gath and a Sejuani? Is that likely to happen? You know, this time around Longzhu are not banning Cho'Gath. They replaced the Cho'Gath ban with a Malzahar ban, and they also dropped the Janna ban. The main thing here is Samsung. You know, Varus, I'm just not too hyped on the Varus. Varus, it's I would just much rather see a Twitch. You know, I much rather prefer the Twitch. I think Twitch is a fantastic champion, and Samsung Galaxy are going for another one where they ban Gragas into the Jarvan Flex. They know that Khan is able to play that Rise ban. What does Rise ban mean for us? Does this mean that Samsung is just gonna go for a Syndra here? No biggie, just pick up a Syndra. Oh, Talia. That makes me happy. This is going to look a bit like Samsung's composition when they kind of roll over G2 quite fast. I think Crown's Talia is definitely like a positive. Longzhu now end up on Orianna and Cho'Gath. Okay, so Longzhu, sure, they have a lot of magic damage, but they have the Jarvan to support that. And Samsung now have a very, very heavy early game composition, in the sense that not in the sense that they fall off, but they have a lot of tools here to create situations for themselves where they can force a lot of situations. Like Talia and Shen together are going to be able to play around the map and create situations with their global, so to speak. You know, sure, Shen is global, but Talia is not exactly a global, but I think you guys understand the gist of it. With Varus and Lulu into bottom, they should be able to have priority into bottom, but how much is it going to matter if you're playing against Atilia and Shen? So the main thing here is that the 2v2 in mid lane, I feel like it's in favor of Talia early on, and then she has Shen to support her, and then when Cho'Gath is going to get the ball rolling and starts to push in Shen, then Cho'Gath can start pressuring into mid lane. The main thing here with Orianna and Jarvan is that they're going to be able to get 2v2 priority most likely. Like they get 2v2 priority post level 6 of Orianna because they have ultimates that are just stronger in the fights. And the main thing here is to pay attention to what Samsung accomplish early on with the Talia push, and Shen should be able to outrate Cho'Gath early on, and we'll just see what Ambition makes out of it. want to just take a step back and spot the moment where Samsung managed to get this board. They're going for the group invade here on the tribush. They walk straight back and walk towards top side to get the ward. I feel like Longzhu definitely could have walked in and warded the enemy red if they wanted to. Maybe they don't think it's that necessary because it's predictable, because Ambition is going to want a clear. I mean, not a clear, he's going to want a leash. No relic shield this time around either. Refillable potion on Gorilla, understandable as well. He's going to play against the lane matchup that's not going to harass him at all. So refillable potion is going to scale into it a lot better. Kaz is now visible on his clear. And Samsung are allowed to push in bottom on the first wave, which is a big deal. Big deal here. You know, in the lane matchup they're in, any type of push advantage they can take is something that they should take. Because the more and more, like Longzhu, the more and more they don't accomplish in bot lane, the better it is for them. But Longzhu's bot lane trades very well and efficiently, so they should be able to eventually push this back and retake control. This is something we call the ambition clear in the gaming house of Vitality, because the first time we saw it happening was when Ambition did it, when he kills Raptors into bottom side camps into top side. This was the time where everyone realized that the Raptor camp was such a premium camp, and killing it early to get it to spawn early is such a positive thing. But sometimes you wanted to path into top side, so the ambition clear was created, and he does Raptors into bot side into top side, and now he's pathing into top side. But Kaz has both crabs, and the wave top side is in a position where I don't think Choga is going to get punished. Ambition spots that the crab is dead, and he walks up towards top side. Usually the crab should be dead, because in a case where Kaz does the clear, where he starts on red buff, then in a lot of cases Javan's gonna take that one. Longzhu now back at it again, you know, pushing bottom. Ruler has a lot of CS here to pick up, so his CS disadvantage is not that big. Let's see how he can CS under the turret with Tristana. It's a difficult thing to do, you know, it's definitely a skill. You know, you can put that on your resume if you know that, and you have that under control. Because he's 23 CS, he's missing one so far, maybe missing two. There was maybe a total of 10 CS there under the tower. Big wave stacking in. He ends on the number 24. Very big deal here that Longzhu, like a BDD, is already having some pressure in the 1v1 against Crown. Talia should be stronger at the early levels. Alright. Ooh, the flash. Crown also with the flash. BDD get the kill. Kaz gets the kill. I lied. Interesting to see that Khan just TP's back to lane. I want to look at the situation of top side, because the main thing here is that when we see Khan TP in, like right now, if we press pause, Khan has half mana, and the wave seems to be in an awkward position for him. And you know, this is a position where he can't really push the wave, but at the same time it's frozen in favor of Kuve. So it's weird wave management here, and Kuve is definitely managing to maintain the wave in a good position for himself here. You know, the main thing here is that Khan, after Shen pushes in, he wants to bounce and push in all the way, but Kuve kind of prevented this by himself, which is, you know, I'm really curious to see what happened on top side, where we don't get to see it too much here, and I can't help but think that it was a mistake from Khan, because I think with the wave slow pushing in, he slow pushes the first wave and then hard pushes the next wave, and then he should be able to base for free. But it looks like Kuve just freezes the wave straight up, and Khan is TPing back. So the main question is if Khan could have stayed and stopped Kuve from freezing the wave. But Khan's TP disadvantage shouldn't be that big of a deal. Kuve will be stronger regardless with his ultimate, especially when it lands and when it hits. Longzhu now with an advantage in mid lane is going to matter big time, because Crown without his flash and heal, Kaz is going to reach his ultimate point, and he's going to be able to ultimate lock him down. The main thing is that I feel like Shen ultimate is going to be able to bridge the gap between like the problematic state of mid lane here. So the main thing here is for Longzhu, the tricky question for them to solve is the fact that Shen is going to impact mid lane a lot. And even though Crown died here, it's going to matter in the end. Okay, Shen has reached level 6 now. Longzhu, their play should be to push in mid lane and then try to just control bot side river, but still, the issue here is going to be Shen, always. If they can maintain push in mid lane, they should be very happy. BDD has his level 6, Lulu is also coming in from the picture, Tarek is also there, Shen ultimate is in position. Shen ultimate is going to be a big problem. Good ultimate, Crown. Crown gets ulted away, but holy moly, the main issue here is that Longzhu are not really playing around the Shen ultimate. I feel like it's hard for them to just straight up force. BDD also doesn't have flash. He does have cleanse to stop him from getting CC'd by either... Of course, cleanse helps him against Sejuani and such, but in this position, you know, like he gets knocked up and then the CC lands from from Crown. Crown just lands the CC, and when that happens, Crown pretty much gets one-shotted. But I really don't like the fact that Longzhu are committing so hard to the situation. And if anything, the way Longzhu need to play is to make sure that Khan can get priority and then play through river from topside, so Khan can actually participate in this. Because Khan is walking down about now, and the fight is already starting. Kuve already cleared the wave under his tower, and then the Shen ultimate comes in, and the taunt lands on BDD. BDD cleansed absolutely nothing. I think it cleansed the slow off of the rocks of Crown. And, no, big play here for Samsung. I didn't have any useful Drake to take, because and BDD are dead, and Ambition is just going in to clear some jungle camps. He runs into a Lulu, trades a bit, stun lands. Flash is still up on Lulu. Tarek was nowhere close. And red buff is the name of the game. Samsung are being very impressive here in draft. I think it's working out for them very well. And I think there's always a risk when you pick Varus. Like, sure, he has 2 tanks to hit, but I felt like this was a game for Twitch more than anything. They saw the Tristan already on Samsung's side, and I feel like they could have just went for the Twitch here. Twitch is a champion that has had a lot of success, and I think the matchup against Tristana is also quite fine. Especially if you're the one having Lulu and the enemy team not having Janna. Oh, the combo is also quite strong here from Tarek and Tristana. Prey is going for the commitment of the trade to punish the fact that Ruler did in fact jump in. Ambition now ready on bot side. Talia is also ready to support. Let's see if Longzhu can respond by diving topside. They're not in position, they're backing off, and Samsung are super far ahead on the play here. Gorilla no flash, Ambition is coming from a good angle. Wow. Okay. Alright. So even with Varus Lulu as the picks, Samsung managed to push in the wave bottom. Good trade onto Gorilla. BF Sword matters a lot here for Ruler. And, you know, this Varus doesn't seem to pay off at all. It's a big issue when the enemy AD carry is allowed to base on BF and you're not the BF AD and you're supposed to be the stronger early game carry. And Samsung now with a massive lead, big lead. And I feel like this having Varus Lulu in your team is definitely an issue here. Samsung, are they going to ruin 80% of the playoff pick'ems? Or playoffs, people call it knockout round, I think. Let's take a step back and just look at this situation, all right? Like, let's take a look. What did BDD do in this lineup play? So he pushed mid lane, went with Jarvan to top side, but playing to top side now is just impossible, I feel. You know, if you're playing against Shen and you have a Choga, you know, this is the issue we talked about last game. You know, there's a big difference if it's Jax and Cannon. You know, it's very easy to dive, it's very easy to set yourself up for a situation where you can trade towers if Samsung go towards bottom side. But in this case, you know, Samsung, you know, looking at this situation right here, Longzhu have mid priority, and they could have played into bot side. And if they step into bot side and clear some vision here and prevent Ambition from going behind their bot lane, then this play is not gonna happen. Samsung also don't have Shen ultimate, so I feel like there's a mistake going into top side because there's no threat at all when it comes to diving Kuve. There's no counterplay at all, and we saw in the previous game where Samsung went for the top lane play. They could set up a dive and it was an efficient trade in the sense that you know, it was the best thing they could have done, while Longzhu used the fact that they were pushing bottom for something good. So the conclusion of this situation, I feel, is that Longzhu are just playing towards the wrong side. They're kind of too used to playing into top side, and in this top lane matchup it doesn't matter too much. You know, Jarvan is out of position, and Samsung with this trade onto Gorilla managed to get wave priority. Prey gets a good trade, manages to get level 6 eventually. And then as we proceed, Talia walks through all these pink wards, and Sejuani is also coming from a good angle. Like Talia ult lands, Lulu no flash, and Prey and Gorilla are just too far up. They try to contest the wave, but it's a little too late, and Prey just gets killed under the tower here. Okay, Samsung in a fantastic position. Kuve is also reaching the point where he has his ultimate back up again. Crown is also reaching the point where he has his flash back up again, which matters a lot. Crown's disadvantage no longer exists. Crown on his Talia is something that I like. I think Crown is very similar to Senkux. He's Void King, plays Talia. Senkux is a Western Crown. Onward now. Crazy stuff, man. To imagine that Samsung is now on their way to secure a 2-0 against Longzhu. You know, to be honest, you know, when I was opening up the stream, like I'm maybe 20 minutes behind, and I read all these comments, you know, on the right-hand side with the YouTube Live, and everyone saying that Samsung is Longzhu's kryptonite. But this was when the game was at this point in time, so you never know, you know, you never know. I feel like once again, Longzhu is going to run into the same issue. It's going to be very hard for them to deal with the Tristana, and Tristana is in a very good state right now, and Talia is very happy playing against Choga. She's going to buy Leandris after this Morello, and she's going to be very content. I feel like the biggest issue for Longzhu overall is the fact that they're getting so hard pushed in bottom. The trade onto Gorilla was very good, and Longzhu were just playing to the wrong side. You know, after Shenyu's ultimate, they should be a lot stronger on the map, and with the Jarvan 6, they should have been able to force on Crown regardless. So they get mid priority, and they didn't play into bottom side. They played in top side. Started doing Raptors, Samsung used the fact that they have vision from before, the fight in mid lane, and just continued their pressure. Samsung are doing the play where they push in bottom and then base, and then Samsung are walking towards top side. I don't think doing the Rift Herald was too bad in this case, but Talia wanted to base for her Morello. So Samsung are putting the lane assignments where they're putting potentially Talia into bottom, and then like optimally Samsung would want to put Shen into bottom and then Tristana and Tarek into top side. But the way they want to do it now is Talia pushes out bottom, she rotates into mid lane, and she's there for the next wave. And you can see Talia is moving right now, and then Shen is going to try to recall and go into bottom side. Varus is out of position, he's also on a blasting one, but was that the W of Tristana? Whoa, 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 whoa. Was that the W of Tristana just getting cancelled right there? Look at that. W. Oh. Oh, no. And then the ult into QW, procs Thunderlord, and he just one-shot the Viper, you know. All of a sudden, Lungzu turned the situation on their head when they have a Varus that is completely out of position for this. Talia is in the mid lane. You know, Varus was so out of position for this. He's also, you know, he's sitting on a blasting one. Like, Varus is so unhappy right now. He just based after pushing bottom. And now he's very happy because he sees the enemy AD carry getting one-shotted. So it's, okay. You know, it was a good situation for Samsung, I feel. Like, they had the push in on bottom, Varus was out of position, but the main issue here is that Ruler just gets one-shotted. Also in this case, you can see Core JJ is kind of running away, and Samsung are in a split decision scenario here. I think Samsung should be running towards this side, and then Shen should base, go into bottom, and then Talia is back in mid lane, and they have the lane assignments that they want. And I thought this was the play all along for Samsung, that they don't lose CS if they make this play where Talia from mid lane bases, goes bottom, catches bottom, while Tarek and Tristana go into mid lane to catch that wave, and then Talia is going to rotate from bottom into mid lane, while Tristana and Tarek rotate into top side to get the lane assignment that they want. And then Shen bases and goes all the way into bottom to catch the wave that is going to eventually push in. But instead here, you know, Ruler, I think he's mispositioning. He's hitting the thing up top, and you know, starting Rift Herald here is definitely good. I think it's good because it forces Longzhu to walk towards there. And if this was a different world where Ruler doesn't get caught and he's walking up topside with his teammates, then Longzhu are the ones that losing CS up here. Like, they would eventually lose CS up here, and that is what you need to do with these waves that you're stacking up and building up for yourself. You need to force the enemy to take a bad decision. The Rift Herald eventually gets the aggro gets shuffled too much, so it gets reset. And then Longzhu just secured this up, no biggie. A big deal here with Ruler as well is that his death kind of screws up the lane assignments. Shen needs to kind of overstay. Bottom wave slow pushing towards Samsung, and Longzhu are actually losing a lot of CS bottom. It's important to highlight. Khan is most likely gonna base and walk down there, and Ruler here with the with the rocket jump. Hashtag punished. Guvino now with the lack of ultimates, Longzhu still have you know, even though they're behind on gold here, I think what Samsung need to wait for now is for Tristana to reach critical point. I think Varus with the Ginsus should be able to get some kind of priority, and in mid lane I feel like Orianna should be able to contest the Talia. I think if anything, Longzhu will be able to play through top side or through bottom side. I mean, not bottom side, but through mid lane if they want to. I feel like right now this would be a window for them to fight, because mid lane is quite equal in items and the kills on Talia is not that big of a difference, and at the same time Longzhu have the Ginsu's finished. So Ginsu Rageblade, Varos here should be very strong up top. Kaz is also in position. Longzhu have no Talia ultimate, no Shen ultimate as well. Roam down bottom though for Crown. Khan has flash. He's walking through the enemy. The knock-up is dodged by Khan. The Merc threads doing some work. Khan is completely safe, so not a big deal for him. Kuvi getting his TP and I mean his ultimate back up soon, and it's kind of a good timing because this gank onto Khan gives Kuvi the space here to maneuver himself around, because he's pushing him bottom as we speak. And when this wave gets pushed in, Kuve does have a good timing for himself to TP somewhere and create a situation for himself. And Khan doesn't want to TP in right now, he wants to clear this wave. Nothing's going to happen though, because he's just going to base. Tristan's going to do the same. Whoa, 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 whoa. Shen ultimate is down. Shen gets the ult after basing. Taric ultimate is huge. Prey still has flash. Khan is TPing in. BDD is also... he's quite out of position, BDD. Holy moly. Holy moly. What was that, BDD? So let's take a look at this again. Ruler walks in, has a Shen ultimate, gets it on himself. Shen just out of base, fresh with his new items. Taric ultimate lands and Ruler is not getting one shot. So Prey uses his ultimate and then he can't kill Ruler through the Shen ultimate and through the Taric ultimate, of course. Gorilla takes a lot of damage during this, and so does Prey. Let's take a look at what Kuz does. Kuz comes in, EQs in, and then he doesn't have EQ ready for the fight. Walks in and just gets stunned up by the Sejuani. The Taric passive synergizes quite well with the Sejuani stun. Maybe there's a big issue here that Kuz EQs in over the wall, or not even over the wall, he's just EQing in river. You can see him EQing right now, and he doesn't really have cooldowns when he comes into the battle. And if anything, you know, after this ult from Taric goes down, Kuz goes in and just gets chunked for no reason. Like, Kuz just loses HP, and I think that's a big deal. If the timing is better and BDD and Kuz are walking in together and they can actually get through river from this position together, then it's going to be a lot better. But BDD just gets one-shotted, uses a flash and cleanse, and holy moly, the performance of BDD in these two games is not the greatest. It's definitely not good. Whoa, okay. Kuz, 1 for 1, not a big of a deal, alright. I want to take a step back and just rewatch this just to make sure that we didn't miss anything. So, I like the play from Ruler, where he's just walking forward and face checking, and he has the powerful ultimates here to kind of follow up on the situation, and you know, it works out, you know. The Shen ultimate lands, he was just in base, it's a good timing for him to TP and fight. Righteous Glory is finished on Choga. Choga tries to walk in here, but Choga can't really do much, even though he's very healthy. He can't really impact the situation. But the biggest issue here for Longzhu is the positioning of BDD. I think Kuz misplayed big time. He walked through river and EQ'd, and then just walked in without actually doing anything, losing all his HP. And then we had BDD come in from a very strange angle. That was the fight that started it all. And of course here you can also argue that maybe this was a mistake from Longzhu. Maybe they should have ulted, traded, and then when the Shen ult came in, like just kite downwards. Like maybe they should have been happy with the trade. Ambition just came in from the bush as well. Longzhu don't really have a lot of vision to work with here. Ruler face checks here, but Ambition is in position, and the Shen ultimate is ready. So it's a very hard decision to make, you know. All in all, I don't think it's the most optimal situation. I think the Varus ultimate needs to be used for more. And it's a hard decision to make, right? It's like the enemy AD is face checking you. You can look for the trade, and in a case where they trade here, which happens, right? So take a look at this again. The Sejuani ultimate comes in, and Prey maneuvers around it quite neatly, and he needs to kite upwards because there's a Sejuani ultimate. So he's not able to kite downwards, as would be the best case for him. And then BDD is just way too out of position. And then again, you know, if BDD just doesn't die here, it's not that big of a problem. But then again, Khan used TP to respond to the Shen ultimate, so cooldown wise, they are pretty similar. No flash on Kaz, and barrier was used, Sejuani ult was used. And the awkward thing here is to take a decision for BDD, because he knows Talia can always follow up, right, and cut him off. But BDD needs to take the... He's taking the aggressive path because he thinks that the fight will extend longer. But the moment his team disengages, he's very out of position, and he can no longer contribute to this fight. But the wall cuts Longzhu off, and BDD is just out of position. And I feel like this could be like communicated better, that Longzhu are looking for the disengage, and BDD needs to take like the longer path around. That could have been better played. You know, they could have played this better for sure. But I like the play from Samson to begin with, where Ruler just face checking the enemy, and they just drop their ultimates, and it works out fine. Really not a big fan of Varus though. I really don't like it. Sure, looks fancy when you get all the big damage done numbers because you were hitting tanks and using your passive and getting suits, but generally speaking, I don't like Varus. I think these other ADs are just better and more prominent. Very hard decision to make with BDD, right? Like, sure, he dies and it becomes a misplay. You can look at it from an individual perspective as well, like he failed flashes and cleanses and does, generally speaking, very bad in this situation. Just using his two summoners is the mistake, right? But in this case, Longzhu are disengaging and he needs to do it too, and you have to give credit to the incredible ultimate from Crown that cuts off the enemy team and at the same time cuts BDD in half. So it was very well played here by Crown. And Crown Talia is a thing of beauty for sure. I was surprised to see it banned the last game. Instead we saw the Rise ban into Talia pickup. Longzhu kinda need to force, because they have Shen with TP hitting top tower. Shen can TP in and support this. Crown is in position to put a good Talia wall. BD is completely out of the fight. Completely out of the fight. Beautiful wall from Crown. Holy moly. Shen TP comes in, and that's a pretty good Orianna ultimate, but Crown wins this for sure, because BDD doesn't have ultimate, and Crown just has higher base numbers, and Crown is playing out of his fucking mind. Holy shit, it is destroying BDD. Holy moly. You know, Crown gives away first blood, but then it just doesn't seem to matter. Crazy, crazy stuff. Like, let's take a look at this again. So this is desperation, because either Longzhu are gonna lose Drake, or they have to force it now. So they take the decision to force it now, and then the smite comes in, and Cho'Gath saves his feast, because his feast is going to be way more important for the fight. But then Crown finds the insane ultimate where BDD is cut off completely. And after that happens, you know, looking at all the details here, the fine details, we can see that Varus gets CC chained. We see the Varus, the Sejuani ultimate lands, and then the Taric stun. The Taric stun lands because Taric just walks up and follows up on Varus. Varus flashes away, and after that, you know, it's not a hard fight to win here for Samsung. Looking at all the details is unnecessary because Longzhu just get rolled over because BDD is completely cut off from the fight, and Crown is Crown Talia, dude. Crown Talia is insane. And looking back at it, you know, it started with this fight in mid lane and then the dive into bot lane, and Samsung are now what is this, 7k gold ahead, even more potentially. No, it's a 6k, and then with the mid tower should be close to 7k. That is crazy. That is, who'd have thought, you know? But of course, you know, counting Samsung out, I don't think anyone necessarily did that. I think everyone was just comparing on paper what the win conditions of Samsung would be. And to be fair, let's be honest, you know, Crown's performance is, he's playing out of his mind. Crown is playing crazy good, and Ambition is very active in the early game, and we're seeing a very different Samsung here, where they have attacked a lot of their issues. And Longzhu, you know, they weren't too exposed in the group stage. They didn't really get tested as much as people would have hoped. But I still had, you know, a lot of hopes in terms of how the decision making panned out to be in the group stage. And this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I don't see a world where Longzhu come back from this position. I feel like their comp is weaker the further we go into the game. Tristana is just going to be too much of a force. And Talia is super fed. Like, she can kill these tanks, she's gonna get Void Staff eventually, and Leandri's Torment is gonna do work. He's gonna do a lot of work. Kind of with the flash is gonna not need to use it. Q lands and he walks away. But it's interesting to see how Shen is doing very well in this matchup with the mixed damage. What is the sound, man? Okay, we continue. Deja vu of the previous game. Samsung are just pushing up top. Let's see if Longzhu get that dream engage that they're looking for. Longzhu can still set up scenarios where they create like an insane ultimate with Orianna, and then maybe they can make something off of that. Longzhu have a lot of bushes to fair shake into, but the wall from Talia, holy moly. Gods get CC'd up. Bad knockup from Crown could have been better as used as a follow-up, potentially. Orianna ultimate lands on the tanks, doesn't make that big of a difference. Ruler is in such a fine position here to just DPS, and he's going quite untouched. Some trade back blows from Prey, but it doesn't matter. You know, Prey needs to stack up his Rage Blade before he does any big hits, and Ruler with the Tristana and the 2 crit items just needs to out-attack occasionally to put out the same amount of DPS when it comes to non-tank targets. But even then, you know, it's like it's not like Varus has Fervor. He doesn't do like a lot of damage to tanks just yet. You know, he doesn't have Fervor, doesn't have Hurricane, doesn't have Later on King. You know, these are very important items for Varus to work and function the way he wants to function. You know, right now it's not like, oh, he melts tanks. You know, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't really matter. Wit's End comes out of Varus. Hurricane is gonna come next, hopefully. I'm personally not a big fan of Varus if you don't run Fervor. Like in general, I'm not a big fan of Varus, but without Fervor, I am even more critical of it than I am without Fervor. I think Fervor is such a big deal, and Warlord's Bloodlust doesn't help you that much. You know, you have Lulu already in lane, you should be able to win the bot lane matchups, and I feel like if anything, Fervor is going to help you out in the all-ins that Samsung are going to look for. Like in the trading situation, then Warlords of Bloodlust is not going to be that important. Warlords of Bloodlust doesn't synergize with any items that you buy, and I'm just not a fan, that's all. I think Fervor Varus is a big deal, a big reason why he's so powerful to kill tanks, because Fervor is amazing. And Fervor synergizes with Ginsu's, synergizes with Wind, like Hurricane. And, you know, what choice does Longzhu have here? They need to face check to get some kind of vision, while Samsung is around Nashor and they're forcing it. And then the engage comes in together with the Talia wall, locks Longzhu in place, and then Samsung are just smashing Longzhu right now. So this Shen pick provided a lot of value. I think it's crazy how much value the Shen pick created, because it put Talia back in the game. Even though she gave away first blood, it put her back in the game. The Shen ultimate in mid lane. Longzhu didn't need to force as hard as they did. They could have played through topside into topside river together with Khan, but it just didn't happen. Kuve got his ult off, and then I felt like Longzhu played into the wrong side of the map, which opened up for Samsung to make the dive into bottom, which put them further ahead. Ruler and Core JJ played very well in the bottom lane matchup. Gorilla did the roam and lost his heal. That could matter as well. He also lost a lot of mana and HP, which matters in the 2v2 on bottom. Kuve is very tonky here, and I think it's going to take some time. There's a feast ready, and the Cataclysm is used for nothing because Shen just taunts out of it as he moves. Interesting ping wall placement here from Samsung to whoa. Okay. So long as what they need to look for is some incredible pickoffs, incredible combos where Orianna ultimate hits 5 people, or maybe they catch one person with a Varus ultimate and then continue onwards. I like the adaptation from Samsung here, that they just picked Talia. And if anything, you know, I think Syndra and Malzahar was a matchup they can be happy with, but you know, crazy stuff. Tristana working out big time for Ruler, and really unhappy with this Varus. Like, I feel like Longzhu are picking bot lanes that fall off very hard, and I think this is not that great for them. When they're picking these bot lanes, and Samsung, you know, the big issue wasn't necessarily like, sure, Varus and Lulu fall off hard, but the big issue is that Samsung got this play into mid lane, they got that play into bottom as well, and Longzhu seem very one-dimensional when it comes to their approach. Like, we saw that in jungle proximity, and we could see that Prey was 16th place out of all the AD carries that are in it, and Samsung now are looking like, all of a sudden they're looking like heavy favorites. And I feel like twice here the draft wasn't doing too much favors for Longzhu. They are picking these, like, I think the main issue for me personally is that I'm not too big of a fan of Varus. But other than that, I think that the core mistakes in the game that put Tristana ahead, Talia back in the game, was such a big deal. It's such a big deal, and of course a team at the caliber of Samsung is going to take that and run away with it. So fantastic game from Samsung, and crazy to see. I think Longzhu made some big blunders, and Even though I criticize the draft, I think it's more of a personal thing than anything. We saw a lot of Varus have success as well. So all in all, I'm not too big of a fan of Varus, and that's it. I'll see you guys in game 3. This has been crazy.